Adam Sanchez Jr. was sentenced in court today. Your ABC Montana News starts right now. We'll have more on the condition of that fire and how it's affecting the surrounding areas coming up in just a bit. Good evening, everyone. I'm Morgan Davies. However, part of Meismer's request was to withdraw his guilty plea. And a Helena man has been arrested for a charge for sexual intercourse without consent. Well, Ben, the Great Falls Police Department, the Cascade County Sheriff's Office, and the Montana State Crime Lab have uncovered human remains. The suspicious activity on Pedsac's bank accounts led detectives to this address, a trailer that was rented by Brandon and Caitlin Kraft. And a Great Falls couple has been arrested in connection with a meth lab on Cove Lane. A series of vandalism have occurred on the northwest side of Great Falls. Well, Ben, they were only minimally affected. There were some delays on outbound and incoming Delta flights. Well, when I spoke with Sheriff Bob Edwards earlier today, he gave me a few tips. Here in Indian Country, there are many lessons in the land. And now for the story that everyone is talking about. A star NFL quarterback is under fire. We are gearing up for back to school here in Great Falls. And according to the Equal Pay Task Force, women only make 74% of what men make. Farmers and ranchers from across the country have made their way to the Electric City.
Controversial to say the least, by golly, so, you know.
But what's not controversial is those summer temperatures. Whoa. And I know, I'm happy I don't have to go to school because I'll be in the pool.
Yeah.
And are saying that the 2007 ordinance was passed illegally. And it was here on 9th Street Southwest, and I'm going to show you where the car actually went. It hit into this utility pole. I didn't just get all the fun for Melinda and Alexis and myself. We also got it for all the guys in Master Control, our camera guys. Everyone gets a root beer float. Spice, K2, pot potpourri. The common street names for synthetic cannabinoids, a drug that looks like marijuana, but the effects can be much more dangerous.
Behavior becomes so unpredictable.
Terrifying stories of the dangers of spice have been popping up all over the country, and one of those horrific stories happened here in Montana.
Adam Sanchez, who is currently in custody for his alleged role in last Thursday's fatal car chase.
Adam Sanchez later admitted to being on bath salts, another name for spice, at the time of that chase. And the way Sanchez reacted under the influence of the drug was recounted by Lieutenant Bob Rosebial at the trial.
I tackled him on the high end, and there's another city officer that got him a blow, and we went to the ground, and then there was a bunch of us on.
It's the reaction to spice like that of Adam Sanchez that concerns police, and each person reacts differently.
One kid will try it and it just gave him kind of a euphoric high, and then another kid tries the same exact strand, same exact brand of synthetic, and it's a completely different reaction.
School resource officer Nick Taylor has also seen a scary first-hand account of spice when a student at CMR went into a full seizure 3 years ago. But still, more and more teens are trying it.
In many ways, you know, when you look at these products, they're actually marketed towards juveniles, using very bright colors, you know, non-descriptive language.
However, spice is not your average drug. Unlike marijuana or methamphetamine, spice can be bought legally in convenience stores or online. This store has an advertisement for spice on their sign outside, and I'm on a website where I can easily purchase spice, and as you can see, it says that it's legal.
Companies that are producing it, mostly based over in China and Russia, they'll end up just changing a strand of the chemicals that are sprayed on these herbs, and basically just a new strand, and that's kind of how they circumvent the legal system on it. So.
Not only is spice readily available, the ever-changing chemical composition makes it difficult for drug tests to detect.
You have to use very specialized testing in order to be able to detect whether someone's under the influence of a synthetic cannabinoid.
I wanted to see just how specialized this drug test was, and to do so, I was able to get my hands on a standard drug test. Now, this only tests for drugs like oxycodone, PCP, and cocaine. And I compared it to lab results from a synthetic cannabinoids drug test, and as you can see, this is 2 pages and over 50 different chemical combinations, and as you can imagine, a test this complex would be very costly to drug courts.
5 to 7 kind of commonly used illegal drugs, might cost $12, where if you want to test for, upwards of 120 different variations of synthetic drugs, that would cost probably around $40.
Despite all of the health complications and the unpredictable behaviors, this drug is still attractive to people, especially teens, because it's easy to get and hard to detect, truly making it a dangerous convenience. Reporting in Great Falls, Morgan Davies, ABC Fox, Montana News.
At 9, your local news leader.
Governor Steve Bullock spent the day in the Electric City doing all things education. Tonight we hear about his initiative on public funding for pre-kindergarten programs. Good evening, everyone. I'm Morgan Davies. We'll hear from Governor Bullock in just a bit, but first, a 17-year-old Phillips County boy was killed in a single vehicle crash west of Saco late last night. According to the Montana Highway Patrol, the boy was a passenger in a Ford Aerostar van when the driver drifted off Highway 243. When they overcorrected, the van rolled several times, coming to rest on the driver's side. The passenger was pronounced dead and the driver suffered injuries. MHP said neither occupants of the van were wearing a seatbelt. The accident is still under investigation, and it is not known if speed or alcohol was a factor. And an update on a Sunday morning house fire that claimed the life of one person. The Cascade County Sheriff's Office says the victim is 67-year-old Richard Robinson. The cause of death is still unknown, but an autopsy is underway. As KFBB previously reported, the fire happened on the 3100 block of 7th Avenue North on Sunday. Great Falls Fire Rescue, along with the Montana Air National Guard and Malmstrom Air Force Base fire departments, responded to the blaze around 3:45 that morning. The cause of the fire is still unknown. And Montana's state Supreme Court has overturned a man's drug conviction, stating Roosevelt County didn't move quickly enough on the trial. Dismissal charges were ordered for Hilario Velasquez after justices say the state didn't pursue other avenues for testing evidence. While the state crime lab had a 9-month backlog, Velasquez was arrested for possession of drugs and drug paraphernalia in September 2013. He spent 10 months in jail awaiting trial after he was unable to post his $5,000 bond. During that time, he was held in what justices say are oppressive conditions, which include not going outside for at least 5 of those 10 months. Velasquez was unable to contact his family, citing jail phone calls cost $1 per minute, and mail sent to his family and attorneys was not always delivered. And in district court today, Sarah Aldrich made an initial appearance on 5 different charges, including 2 counts criminal child endangerment. Court documents say Montana Highway Patrol was dispatched to Old U.S. Highway 91 for a rollover accident. And when the trooper arrived on scene, there was a small car that had rolled off the road several times. When the trooper spoke with Aldrich, who was the driver, he determined that her license was suspended and she smelled like alcohol. Aldrich said that she swerved to avoid an antelope, and her 2 children in the car said the same. The trooper performed a sobriety test on Aldrich, and she showed many signs of intoxication. A breath sample was also taken from her, and it showed a .334. She has been released on her own recognizance with alcohol monitoring. And a Vaughan man has been arrested for sexual intercourse without consent. Court documents say John Halverson was at a party when the 23-year-old male victim fell asleep next to him. The victim awoke to Halverson performing oral sex on him. His pants and underwear were down around his ankles, which isn't how he fell asleep. The report says the victim yelled and pushed Halverson off of him, then woke up his friend, who was also staying at the house, and left. Halverson admitted to performing oral sex, but said that it was consensual. His bond is being set at $10,000. And today, Senator Jon Tester announced over $1.5 million to help survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault in Montana.
Supporting survivors of domestic and sexual violence should be one of our state's top priorities. This funding will go towards helping these folks directly. while also supporting efforts to bring about system-wide change so that we can prevent this kind of violence in the first place.
The grant is funded by the Department of Justice and will go towards the Montana Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, the Dawson County Domestic Violence Program, and the Montana Legal Services Association. And today was the first day of school for kids in the Electric City, and some of those kids got quite the surprise from Governor Steve Bullock. ABC Fox Montana's Melinda Zosh has more details. Melinda.
Governor Bullock delivered a speech at a back-to-school rally at Lions Park in Great Falls.
And before his busy day in the Electric City, Governor Bullock met with the Department of Energy to discuss carbon capture and enhanced oil recovery in the Colstrip community.
We had some experts from the U.S. Department of Energy in the conference room today saying, more or less helping map out a plan for how we could continue to use coal in a way that is less harmful to the environment, but keeping good jobs and keeping good opportunities.
And the communications director for Republican gubernatorial candidate Gianforte, Aaron Flint, released this statement regarding Bullock's meeting, saying Greg Gianforte has fought to save Colstrip since day one, and adds that Obama's costly power plan needs to be stopped along with the efforts to shut Colstrip down. Flint continues on to say that's why Montana needs a job creator like Gianforte who will fight for Colstrip jobs, unlike Governor Bullock. Now, going back to that meeting, along with the briefing, the Department of Energy released a white paper that makes it clear that the use of coal will be a major part of global energy consumption. Additionally, the DOE presented information on their loan programs, highlighting the available resources for projects employing these technologies. All right, now Ted King joins me, and it was really hot today. It wasn't that like, oh, this is nice hot. I was like, this is awful hot.
It was kind of bugging you, was it? Huh?
It was. I mean, I saw someone tweet that it was 102 degrees outside, so that's pretty hot.
It may have reached the 102 mark in some areas. I know it reached 99 in Lewistown.
All right, thanks, Ted. Now, we could find out tomorrow if some of the Yellowstone River will reopen. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks is holding a conference call tomorrow at noon. They're expected to give the latest update on the fish kill that closed a 183-mile stretch of the Yellowstone River and its tributaries to recreation. They're expected to give an update on the river closure and announce which stretches of the river may reopen. The river was closed on August 19th after reports were made earlier in the month of numerous dead mountain whitefish. Scientists determined the fish died from kidney disease caused by a parasite. Today, FWP says they've counted 4,000 dead whitefish and small number of other fish. We'll have the latest from the conference call tomorrow evening. And the results are in, and it looks like the city of Craig is set to finance a community wastewater system. 35 of the 51 ballots sent out were returned with just 10 opposed to the project. The board of directors will now issue over $1 million in bonds to help finance the system. Overall, the project is estimated to cost nearly $5 million, with the rest of the money coming from other grants and loans. The next step is to get bids on the construction. Those are expected to come in the next few months, and if everything goes as planned, work on the 7-month-long project could begin next spring. And starting tomorrow, applications can be put in for a non-commercially guided snowmobile trip into Yellowstone National Park. The program, authorized 3 years ago, allows one non-commercially guided snowmobile trip through the park per day. There can only be 5 machines within the group, and all snowmobiles must meet the park's new best available technology standards. These permits will be given out through a lottery system, with winners announced mid-October. Once the lottery portion is over and any permits that are not used are issued out on a first-come, first-served basis. These trips can be up to 3 days in length and cost $40 per day with a $6 application fee. You have until September 30th to get your application, and you can go to our website, kfbb.com, for the link on how to apply.